If you've been following my very cheap Volvo series, you might be wondering whether this was a good idea or whether you should be attempting something like this. So in this video, I'm going to chat about whether you should buy a cheap European car. Oil leaking from the headlight. Now that's very common on these old Volvos. The oil inside the bulbs start leaking out. So hopefully we can figure out where it comes from, but it's dripping down from here. So I think it's one of the pipes. Hopefully this is our thing that's making the noise. It shouldn't be red, it shouldn't be brown, it should be green. I bought this 2002 Volvo XC70 at WeBuyCars on an online auction for only 29,000 Rand without inspecting it before I bought it. Now, I would never recommend you do something like this, but could you get away with buying a cheap European car and fixing it or sorting it yourself and making it a daily driver? I've been driving this for a couple of 100 kilometers without any issues, but I still have some jobs to do. And in this video, we'll chat about whether this is a good idea or not. Okay, so I'm going to try to be honest in this video and not sugarcoat it and not hide any of the difficulties that I've faced dealing with this. Now, the first thing to remember is I'm not a mechanic. I'm just a normal guy like you, learning as I go. And having the right tools definitely makes the job easier because this car is quite heavy. Now, you can lift this with a normal bottle jack or a scissor jack. I used my wife's Gemini's jack, but it took like 10 minutes to lift up one side. And now with this thing, it's just 4 pumps and it's high enough to fit axle stands underneath. Now, never work just on a jack, but having the right tool makes it easier. Now, this one was 2,500 Rand from Ardendorf's, and I can definitely recommend getting a proper jack if you're working under a heavy car. Another thing to remember is just look around here. I don't have a garage, so I'm also working outside. Obviously, you need some space. So if you're in a flat somewhere and you don't have a place to work outside, it's going to be difficult. But I don't have a garage, I don't have a lift, and it is sometimes a bit difficult. Okay, one thing I just noticed is there's a new leak here, a coolant leak. So hopefully we can figure out where it comes from, but it's dripping down from here. So I think it's one of the pipes on top of the engine, close to the transmission. I'm also draining the oil while I'm in here. Now, most of the jobs that you've seen on this channel so far has been preventative maintenance. The timing belt, the gearbox oil flush, now the oil change. The coolant, there was that warning, but there was no issues. It was just the sensor. So the car actually ran fine when I got it and I test drove it. And I could have probably just run it like that. But without doing these preventative maintenance stuff, you could end up paying more than the car to fix whatever goes wrong. I think the biggest fix was that cam aperture ring that caused the long cranking. Without that, the car would have probably ended up not starting at some point because that was totally mangled. Next job is to replace this strut, because on the WeBuyCars Inspectify report, they said it's completely worn out, and I can feel and hear it making noises. So I'm going to replace it with this second-hand one that I got from Swedotech Service. Henk sent me this one for free. He said he doesn't know the condition of this, but I can give it a try. So thanks again, Henk, for the help. I'm going to put this in and see if it feels better. And it's out. Look at this. Yeah. Hopefully this is our thing that's making the noise. I'm pretty sure the other one's going to be better. Easy peasy. That was easy. I got it in. There's even now a ABS sensor bracket which wasn't on the other one. So that's already an upgrade. Wow, both bolt in. Wow, that was actually not that difficult. Now you don't need one of these, but it just makes life a lot easier. So I'm just torquing it to 80 Newton meters and 65 at the bottom, and then we'll drop the car and then do the top ones at 24 Newton meters, and that's it. Oh, I must remember this stabilizer bar. That felt too easy, but the nice thing about this Volvo is it is actually not that difficult to work on, and there's so much info online. So if you are, I wouldn't say mechanically inclined because I don't think I am, but if you are interested, you can do a lot of this stuff yourself. And you can make stupid mistakes like I've done in the past, but that's why, there's so many experts that's going to ask for advice. But this was just an example of how simple it could be. But if you don't want to do it yourself, someone else would probably charge you an arm and a leg to do it. And that's where these European cars can become expensive. So far, I haven't had any issues finding parts. This is obviously a second-hand part, but you can find Monroe shocks for these. All the other service parts I could easily order from AutoZone, Goldwagen, Midas, the local parts store, or even on Amazon, like that coolant bottle up there. So far, it's not difficult to find parts, and figuring out how to do stuff is also very simple. Okay, so last step, I've dropped the car onto the wheels with its weight on there, and now just torque these up to 24 Newton meters, and that's the shock done. Super easy. Let's hope it's fine. Okay, oil's drained. Now we're going to replace the oil filter, which is easily found anywhere at a parts store. You just need a special tool to get the filter housing off, and this I bought off Takealot. So again, not very difficult to find. You just make sure you get the right one. There it says S40 S80. Don't know if that refers to Volvo, but anyways, look at this. My camera woman my mom just found this oil leaking from the headlight. Now that's very common on these old Volvos. The oil inside the bulbs start leaking out. No, I'm just joking. There's no oil in there, and that has to be from this power fluid reservoir. You can see how wet it is around there. I've wiped it so many times, and if you look down there all the way to the bottom there, it's very wet with ATF. I think it's dripping down this pipe. Now I also luckily got a second-hand one again from Henk at Swedotech, so we'll fit that and then fill it with the correct ATF for this car, which is not the normal ATF. Okay, to be fair, one thing that was difficult to figure out or to find is the correct power steering fluid for this car. You can't just use any ATF. It has to be this CHF 11S or similar. So this I had to order online, and the same for the automatic transmission fluid. It's not normal ATF. It has to be a specific type. Okay, so this one has a filter housing instead of just a spin-on filter. So this is the old one, and now we replace the O-ring on the housing and the filter, and that's it. The one nice thing about these old cars, and this Volvo specifically, is that you can see it was designed with maintenance in mind. For instance, on the filter housing, it says 25 Newton meters, the torque specs for the filter housing. And over the years, I feel like modern cars just got so much worse, and everything is just take it to the dealer. Whereas this thing, I'll show you now when I do the fuel filter, there's a valve that you can release the fuel rail pressure or line pressure. And on modern cars, you just can't do that. Now let's check this out. Check there. You can go close by. There's the spark plug. There's the service intervals. There's the ignition timing. So everything you need to keep your car running, even the type of oil, is under the bonnet. I mean, on new cars, you struggle to find the information from the actual dealers. So that's why that is one big benefit of these older, well-made cars. And they built these with the idea that you, the owner, can keep it on the road. Okay, so now we replaced this reservoir. I need to bleed it now, all the air out of the system. And then there's a few other small things I'll quickly do. This is the old ATF or steering fluid that came out of there. It shouldn't be red, it shouldn't be brown, it should be green. So we're going to flush all of this. At least this is all out now. We've got about 3/4 of a liter in there of this good stuff. Finally, I can replace this 7mm bolt that I couldn't find. I actually made myself one, but then Henk sent me a whole bag full of them, second-hand ones. So thanks again for that. Go check out Sweeto Tech Service in Bloemfontein for your Volvo needs. But I had to remove this engine brace, and that gives me the chance to replace this brand new mount that Bernard Lowe, one of the viewers, sent me for free. Thank you, Bernard. I hope your new Volvo goes well. Now back to the question of whether this is a good idea. If you enjoy working on cars and you have time, you have space, then by all means, it's not rocket science. If I can do it, every single one of you can do it too. But if you don't like working on cars, you don't like getting your hands dirty, you don't have any interest at all, and you have a job that keeps you very busy and your time is very valuable, then I would definitely reconsider. And the other thing that you need to remember is that if you buy an old European car like this, you cannot just expect to jump in and drive to Cape Town the next day, unless you live in Cape Town. But even then, so the problem is it might drive fine on the test drive, but just out of town, a water hose pops off and the coolant drains, and there goes your head gasket, or the timing belt snaps, or the engine cuts out for some weird electronic reason. So you have to get it checked properly, and if you do take it to someone who don't know what they're doing, you end up with some of the stuff that you've seen on this car. And if you take it to a specialist, it might end up costing more than the 29,000 Rand that you paid for this at the online auction. So anyways, thanks for joining, and I'll see you next time.